Hello and welcome to Worldview, a program designed to bring you up to speed with trending developments the world over. My name is Embolden James, reaching you live from Uyo. Let's take a look at some of our headlines for today. U.S. President Donald Trump takes his oath of office as the 47th U.S. President. Trump says he would sanction Russia if Putin does not negotiate on Ukraine. Turkish ski resort fire kills 76 guests forced to jump from windows. Details of the stories and more coming up shortly on Worldview today. Many thanks for joining us. This is Worldview, and the first story today is U.S. President Donald Trump has taken his oath of office during his swearing-in ceremony as the 47th President of the United States. The Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts administered the oath.
Teaches our children to be ashamed of themselves in many cases, to hate our country despite the love that we try so desperately to provide to them. All of this will change starting today, and it will change very quickly.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Both Trump and others around him have threatened retribution against the media, and his cabinet picks include climate and vaccine skeptics. Meanwhile, speaking from inside the U.S. Capitol rotunda because of the sub-freezing temperatures, Trump said the golden age of America begins right now. He also promised to crack down on undocumented immigration, increase domestic oil drilling, impose tariff, rescind federal electric vehicles goals, declare that there are only two genders assigned at birth. Let's take a listen.
Swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute.
And we have an education system that teaches our children to be ashamed of themselves in many cases, to hate our country despite the love that we try so desperately to provide to them. All of this will change starting today, and it will change very quickly. My recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal and all of these many betrayals that have taken place, and to give the people back their faith, their wealth, their democracy, and indeed their freedom. From this moment on, America's decline is over. Our liberties and our nation's glorious destiny will no longer be denied, and we will immediately restore the integrity, competency, and loyalty of Americans.
In the meantime, President Donald Trump has signed an order directing U.S. government agencies to stop issuing citizenship documentation for babies born in the United States to parents without legal status. The order, titled Protecting the Meaning and Value of American Citizenship, was signed just hours after Trump took office. The order instructs federal agencies to deny U.S. citizenship to children born in the U.S. if their mothers are in the country illegally or on a temporary visa and the father is neither a U.S. citizen nor a lawful permanent resident. Effective February 19, the order would deny U.S. citizenship, including passports, to children born on U.S. soil unless at least one parent is a U.S. citizen or a green card holder. This birthright order is part of a series of immigration directives aimed at reversing Biden-era policies and enforcing a crackdown on border security and immigrant communities, which, according to analysts, is setting the stage for anticipated legal battles.
Numerous foreign leaders. Go ahead.
Sir, this next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the United States.
Yeah, that's a good one. Birthright. That's a big one.
What about that one in the court? That one is likely to be challenged.
Could be. We think we have good grounds, but you could be right. I mean, you'll find out. It's ridiculous. We're the only country in the world that does this with birthright, as you know. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. But, you know, we'll see. We think we have very good grounds.
Sir,
People have wanted to do this for decades.
In a related development, attorney generals from the 22 states has sued to block President Donald Trump's move to end a century-old immigration practice known as birthright citizenship, guaranteeing that U.S.-born children are citizens regardless of their parents' status. Trump's roughly 700-word executive order issued late on Monday amounts to a fulfillment of something he's talked about during the presidential campaign. But whether it succeeds is far from certain, according to what the 22 state prosecutors had to say. Let's take a listen.
Was elected November 5th, I made clear that it was my hope that he would act in ways that were in the best interest of our communities, of our residents, of our neighbors, of our friends. And I said very clearly that, A, he's a duly elected president. No one makes any bones about that. And B, he's entitled to enact a policy agenda that he sees fit for the country. But at the same time, I made it equally clear that as the
Democratic attorney generals and immigrant rights advocates say the question of birthright citizenship is settled law and that while presidents have broad authorities, they are not kings and therefore cannot revoke the law. Also, President Trump has signed an executive order on the first day of his second term, beginning the process of withdrawing the U.S. from the World Health Organization. It was among dozens of executive actions he signed after being sworn in on Monday on issues ranging from immigration to foreign policy to climate change. Scientists and public health officials expressed concerns that the move could roll back decades of gains made in fighting infectious diseases like AIDS, malaria, tuberculosis, and could weaken the world's ability to identify and contain emerging outbreaks that could trigger future pandemics. A White House statement said that the U.S. will withdraw due to the organization's mishandling of COVID-19 pandemic that arose out of Wuhan, China, and other global health crises, its failure to adopt urgently needed reforms, and its inability to demonstrate independence from the inappropriate political influence of WHO member states. It also accused the WHO of demanding unfairly onerous payments from the United States, far out of the proportion with other countries' assessed payments.
Regrets the announcement that the United States of America intends to withdraw from the organization. WHO plays a crucial role in protecting the health and security of the world's people, including Americans, by addressing the root causes of disease, building stronger health systems, and detecting, preventing, and responding to health emergencies. We hope the United States will reconsider, and we look forward to engaging in constructive dialogue to maintain the partnership between the United States of America and WHO for the benefit of the health and well-being of millions of people around the globe.
We see with concerns the announcement to...
Still in the White House, just a day after U.S. President Donald Trump's sweeping grant of clemency to all of the nearly 1,600 people charged in connection with the 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol, America's far right celebrated. Some called for the death of judges who oversaw the trials. Others partied and expressed relief. Some even wept with joy. In a few pen strokes, Trump reversed the largest U.S. Justice Department investigation and prosecution in history as he attempted to rewrite what happened during the violent riots on January 6, 2021. As he took office for a second term on Sunday, Trump continued to claim falsely that the 2020 election was rigged and that he was the rightful winner. He has described the riots as a peaceful day of love rather than a merely aimed at overturning the results of the 2020 U.S. presidential election.
Served years in jail. They should not have served, and they've served years in jail, and murderers don't even go to jail in this country. And we had 1,500. We have 16 under review. As you know, we commuted about 16 of them because it looks like they could have done things that were not acceptable for a full pardon. But these people have served years of jail, and their lives have been ruined. And in many cases, listen to me for a second. Stop interrupting. They've served years in jail, and if you look at the American public is tired of it. Please.
Away from that, U.S. President Donald Trump has said that he would likely impose sanctions on Russia if its President Vladimir Putin refuses to negotiate about ending the war in Ukraine. Trump gave no details on possible additional sanctions. The United States has already sanctioned Russia heavily for its invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Trump said his administration was also looking at the issue of sending weapons to Ukraine, adding his view that the European Union should be doing more to support Ukraine. Let's take a listen.
To Zelensky, we're going to be talking with President Putin very soon, and we'll see how it all happens. We're going to look at it very soon. One thing I do feel, the European Union should be paying a lot more than they're paying, because under Biden, I mean, we're in there for $200 billion more. Now, it affects them more than it affects us. We have an ocean in between, right? Little thing called an ocean. The European Union should equalize. We're in there for $200 billion more than.
In the meantime, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, who is seeking a meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump, has said that at least 200,000 European peacekeepers would be needed to prevent a new Russia attack after any ceasefire deal. The Ukrainian leader, speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, a day after Trump returned to power, following a month of promises to end the war in Ukraine quickly. He further urged European leaders to do more to defend the continent.
Europe look at the United States as our ally. It's clear they are an indispensable ally. In times of war, everyone worries, will the United States stay with them? And every ally worry about that. But does anyone in the United States worry that Europe might abandon them someday?
Meanwhile, the prospect of a rapid settlement has focused minds in Kiev and Europe on the urgent need for security guarantees to prevent any future Russian attack, with the idea of peacekeeping force circulating. Let's move now to the Middle East, where fire at a ski resort hotel in Turkey's Bolu Mountains killed 76 people and injured dozens on Tuesday, forcing panicked guests to jump out of a window in the middle of the night. Authorities said that the fire began around 3:30 a.m. on the restaurant floor of the 12-story Grand Catel Hotel. Several fire engineers and ambulances later surrounded the charred, wood-fronted buildings where white bed sheets tied together dangled from at least 3 upper-floor windows, showing how people tried to flee. President Tayyip Erdogan declared today a day of national mourning after the incidents. Meanwhile, Turkey has detained 9 people, including the owner of the hotel, in connection with the deadly fire that claimed the lives of 76 people and injured dozens at a ski resort in western Turkey, Interior Minister Ali Yerlikaya said today. Yerlikaya also reported that the bodies of 45 victims had been handed over to their families, while DNA tests were being conducted to identify the remaining bodies at the Forensic Institute. Still in the Middle East, Israeli security forces backed by helicopters raided the volatile West Bank city of Jenin, killing at least 9 Palestinians in what Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called a large-scale and significant military operation. The action launched a day after U.S. President Donald Trump declared he was lifting sanctions on ultra-nationalist Israeli settlers who attacked Palestinian villagers. This was announced by Netanyahu as a new offensive against Iran-backed militants. The move into Jenin, where the Israeli army had carried out multiple raids and large-scale incursions over recent years, comes only 2 days after the start of a ceasefire in Gaza. In the meantime, Israel's army chief Herzi Halevi has said that he would resign on March 6, taking responsibility for the massive security lapse on October 7, 2023, when Palestinians, Hamas gunmen from Gaza, carried out a cross-border attack on Israel. Halevi, who had been widely expected to step down in the wake of the deadliest single day in Israel's history, said he would complete the Israel's Defense Forces inquiries into October 7 and strengthen the IDF readiness for security challenges. It was not immediately clear who would replace Halevi, who said he would transfer the IDF command to a yet-to-be-named successor. After the break, Quad foreign ministers meet in Washington in signal of Trump's China focus. Do stay joined to us for these and many more stories right after this breather. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now let's move to the Asian Pacific region, where the United States, Australia, India and Japan recommitted to working together on Tuesday after the first meeting of the China-focused Quad grouping's top diplomats since President Donald Trump returned to the White House. In a joint statement after the talks in Washington, hosted by U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on his first day in the job, the four nations said officials would meet regularly to prepare for an upcoming leader. The four countries shared concerns about China's growing power, and analysts said the meeting was designed to signal that countering Beijing is a top priority for Trump, who began his second term in office on Monday. Rubio earlier said he would stress the importance of working with allies on the things that are important to America and Americans during the meeting.
Policy, which is rather than being diverted by what Trump sees as sideshows in the Middle East particularly, he wants to focus on what America's pacing threat is, which is China. At the same time, there's concern that our partners in the Pacific region feel that the United States has been drifting and losing focus on what's going on. So I think this is trying to set a tone and say what the administration wants to do in the security realm. The Trump administration as a whole is moving with a very great sense of urgency. I mean, when Trump was president the first time, it took months to get his government in place. He really didn't know what he was doing. Here, he went straight from his swearing in to a rally where he publicly signed executive orders. Yesterday, a big part of his national security team.
In the meantime, Chinese President Xi Jinping and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin had a video call hours after Donald Trump was sworn in on Monday, pledging to bring bilateral ties to greater height, according to state media on both sides. Calling Xi a dear friend, Putin said Russia and China were building ties on the basis of friendship, mutual trust and support, despite internal pressure. Xi called on Putin to continue deepening strategic coordination, firming up mutual support and safeguarding legitimate interests. Meanwhile, Trump on Tuesday threatened tariff on Beijing, calling it an abuser, and warned that big trouble will come for Moscow if it does not strike a deal to end the war in Ukraine.
We build our ties on the basis of friendship, mutual trust, and support for equality and mutual benefit. These connections are self-evident and independent of domestic political factors and the current global situation.
You today on Worldview. To ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website spectrumtvlive.ng. I am Emedion James, reaching you live from Uyo, and you've been watching Worldview on Spectrum TV. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.